All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this other edition, a new edition of the Sideline Guys. It's your host, Dwayne Dickey, in the house, joined by the co-host here, Derek Myers. How you doing, good sir?
Doing well, bro. How you doing?
Oh, man, doing wonderful, man, doing wonderful. And, of course, we got a guest joining us on the show. Got to get real epic for this one, man. You know, this is my boy from another mother one time, my brother from another mother, you know, coming down from the South Side, the NO, your favorite New Orleans Saint, a.k.a. Mr. LeBron, a.k.a. Mr. Full Throttle himself, Rick Sincere, repping MTMV Sports in the house. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
What's poppin'?
What's good, bro?
That's an exclusive for those of you watching this on video. You see the action. You see it. If you're listening on the audio, you got to give your own visual. I'm sorry. Gentlemen, welcome to this edition. You guys are on the sidelines with the Sideline Guys. We are here today to talk episodes 7 and 8 of The Last Dance. Gentlemen, go ahead and give your quick thoughts overall on both parts of 7 and 8.
Bro, I can't believe we're almost done. This sucks, man. This really sucks. But I think these two episodes really showed. You know how we were talking about last episode? I think maybe it was a previous episode. We were talking about how we were starting to see the humanity of Michael Jordan. I think we were starting to see more of the humanity with the emotion. That's what hit me the most with this is like you don't see him express emotion that much unless someone pisses him off, he wins, something like that. You don't see much emotion from Michael Jordan. So this one, it was good to see the behind the scenes of all that, especially when, man, I'm gonna tell you what really got me was when he won that championship on Father's Day. That was the fourth one, right? That's what really got me. And just thinking about that, because he has his kids in the audience. His dad's first time he's not at a finals. See him. It's like that's a lot, and to win like that was good. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed these two episodes because this was it just showed a lot. And I used to tease Michael Jordan about the baseball thing. But when you start seeing like how they were talking about him, like he actually, if things had gone well, like, the MLB didn't mess up or anything like that, like he could have actually gone professional, that would have actually been a good thing to see. Because I used to joke about how Michael Jordan's kids got the baseball side of Michael Jordan. They didn't get the basketball side of Michael Jordan. So so now seeing how he was actually starting to really do well in the minor leagues, like that would have actually been something to see him actually reach the pro level with that and actually do well with that. See if he could have done well with that at least. But I just enjoyed these two episodes. I really did. I think this was probably my favorite part of the episode of the whole docuseries so far. These two episodes, this is probably my favorite.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it was a lot of different things in these two episodes that I thought was ridiculous. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Jordan is so memeable, y'all. Like Jordan is probably the most memeable individual I've ever seen. So like you've seen several different parts where there's been memes from Jordan, right? So the Jordan crying face has always been a thing, but the opposite of that crying is his laughing, which will be his new gift. You feel what I'm saying? Like he's gonna create a new gift laughing at Gary Payton. If you paid attention to that whole situation, yo, like Gary was like, I know it got to Mike. And the blessed part of this whole situation is being able to see Michael Jordan respond in like alive. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
this document could have came out like, years later, and maybe, at that point he's not with us, but he's right here. He's with us. We can get his immediate reaction to
Yeah.
somebody who is also with us and talking, crazy, because y'all know Gary, right? But
Yeah.
you see him talking crazy, and then you see Jordan's immediate response. He thought he was wearing Jordan down. He thought he was getting to Michael Jordan. He thought he was the problem. The glove was the problem for Michael Jordan. Come on, fam. Like he laughed that off, and I thought that's a new gift. You feel what I'm saying? Him just in stop motion. That's a meme. He's ridiculous with that.
Speaking of memes, you saw that one with they pieced that together with
Yes.
LeBron saying
Yeah.
That was a good piece.
Oh man. Oh, I wish I had thought of that one, man. That was beautiful.
That was dope. Disrespectful, but funny. Disrespectful to the true GOAT, but still disrespectful.
It was disrespectful for LeBron to say that.
Not at all. But at the same time, but you look his fight with Steve Kerr. I thought his fight with Steve Kerr was a big deal because we had always heard about it. We never heard both sides of it at one time. And I thought hearing that situation from both sides was dope, right? Getting a chance to kind of see, like we've since moved on from Steve Kerr, the basketball player. Everybody has, right? It's now Steve Coach, one of the best coaches of our time, right? Because he has a great, talented roster, and whenever he does, he's going to win a championship. So you look at that situation, and you look at Steve Kerr in that way. Steve Kerr is a great coach, and that's the way we look at him. At the same time, at one point, he was one of Jordan's sidekicks, right? Not to think for a second that he would be the one to throw the first punch. Never thought that at all. Never thought he even got a punch off. Does that make sense?
I didn't. I thought this entire time it was just Michael Jordan that punched him.
I thought Michael Jordan just like pushed him, punched him, and that was the day. But I didn't know he started. But Michael deserved every punch he received. Let's just be honest about it. Yes. Like Michael Jordan is anyway, we'll get to all that stuff, but just but watching Michael Jordan in that situation, I love the fact that they had a fight. I love the fact that Steve Kerr stood up for himself. I hate the fact that it hit him in the chest and not the eye where he should have been aiming, but maybe he's just short. But for the most part, I look at that situation like, Jordan realized that, he just beat up the smallest guy and decided to call him and fix that, right? So I thought that was cool. Another thing that was crazy to me was watching Scottie Pippen take over when Jordan was gone.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, and I was, honestly, I would be dead honest with everybody watching or listening. I took a hiatus from basketball when Jordan did.
Oh, wow.
When Jordan left, I also was gone. And when he came back, I also returned.
God.
During that whole period of time, while watching this, I'm watching Scottie Pippen in a leadership role for the first time. I'm like, nice. I'm dead serious. At no other point have I seen Scottie Pippen do that. But at the same time, watching Scottie Pippen flake out on them boys at the very end was like, I've been in that spot before where as the leader, right, I get in my feelings and I can't, I'm not like there when I need to be there. He got in his feelings. He thought he was like, if this was Jordan, like Phil drew up a play for Tony Kukoc, right? And I'm like, that is kind of disrespectful, to be honest with you.
It is.
You feel me? But at the same time, Tony did hit shots like that. So, and he did hit that shot too. So Phil was right in doing what he did. At the end of the day, though, Scottie was also right for getting in his feelings about it. Was he also right for sitting on the bench and not getting in the game? That's weird.
Do you think he would have done that if Michael Jordan was in the audience that day? Because I heard the director talking about this.
Big facts.
He asked him,
I see where you're going.
Do you think Scottie would have still done that?
No way. No way.
No.
No.
That's what's really weird about that is that he even did it.
Well, it's
his character.
Because look, it's just like, look, mama's not there, daddy's not there, you do what you want. And look, he didn't have to look on the sideline and see Jordan. You feel me?
Yeah.
Come on.
Like, he didn't have to look on the sideline and see Jordan.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to look on the sideline and see the disappointment in somebody's face, because honestly, watching it right now, I was disappointed. I was sad. I was like, dang, Scotty. But I felt him because he's like, yo, if I'm the leader, give me like if this was Jordan, there's no way in the world you go to Tony.
No.
If Jordan was there, there's no way in the world you go to Tony. But I understood it though. But his flaking out right there, and the fact that Bill Cartwright, I think, cried.
Yeah.
He looks like such a nice guy, bro.
He does.
You feel me?
He looks like someone you want to go and sit down and have a coffee.
Yeah, have a coffee with. Not a beer.
Not a beer.
Not a beer.
Bill doesn't drink beer.
Not a beer. Not a beer. He's not somebody you want to sit and have a beer with, but he is somebody you want to have a donut and a coffee with, or maybe a cappuccino, a frappuccino with him.
Even some tea. I'd have tea.
Even some tea. You're not gonna like this. All right, so but that kind of stuff, and Scott Burrell, like watching the whole Scott Burrell thing play out, I thought that was crazy. You talked about the humanity people saw in Jordan, right? Mm-hmm. The villain in Jordan is who I think I highlighted in 7 and 8. Villainous Jordan is who got highlighted, and I know you just asked me for my brief thing, so let me wrap up. But I'll just basically say, seeing all those events play out, watching the villain in Jordan come out, I thought those things were just crazy to me, man. And I've always heard about it, but getting those facts behind what you've heard about as rumors makes everything solid. And now my opinion on Jordan is solid, right? And my opinion on LeBron is even more solid.
All right. Look, let's go right into this. Let's go right into this because you already know what's coming. That's just the intro to get you guys reeled in. So, that being said, let's get into our first question of this entire review episode. So, gentlemen, what did The Last Dance tell you guys about B.J. Armstrong?
He has heart, but he did the thing that you should not do, which is poke the bear. He has heart. It was cute to see, but but you don't poke the bear, man. I'm sorry. That was just a wrong move, and he should have known that. He's fought alongside Michael Jordan. You've battled alongside Michael Jordan. Why would you do that? You go celebrate and all this other stuff, and now all of a sudden you think, was that the same game that someone else even told Michael the 45 doesn't look like 23? Was that the same game?
No.
Was that the next game?
So that was a different series. That was his Orlando series, yeah.
That was Orlando. Okay, my bad. But still, all the celebrating and all that stuff, you don't do that. Not Michael Jordan. Not Michael Jordan. I wouldn't look. There's two guys. No, there's a few guys I wouldn't do that against if I was an NBA player. In the history of playing, LeBron's not one, but Michael Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, KG, okay, Duncan. Even though Duncan is quiet, Duncan is still a killer. Those are guys I never would have thought of doing that.
Wait! You forgot someone.
Who?
You forgot the truth. You never celebrate against the truth. Remember?
Listen.
The Knicks did that.
Yes. Yes. That is true. That is actually that. Yeah.
Showed up.
I will. I had to put Paul Pierce in that as well. That is very true.
I was wondering when you was gonna bring up Paul Pierce or Isaiah Thomas.
Well, I didn't bring him up. But if
you don't celebrate against Isaiah Thomas in the third quarter.
Yeah, because he'll kill you in the fourth.
Will he now?
Yes, he will. But yeah, those are guys I wouldn't do that to. And Michael Jordan, you doing that to Michael Jordan? I just can't fathom, like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying?
Can I tell you why? You want to know why?
That was like the first game, right? First or second game in the series?
I think it's the second, but you know why you do it against Michael Jordan?
Why?
Because it's Michael Jordan. And if I beat Michael Jordan at anything, ping pong, racing, chess, throwing a quarter against a wall, what? Yes, I do.
Let him see it.
Bro, I let him see every single bit of it because I just beat Michael Jordan at basketball.
Yes. Okay.
If I beat Michael Jordan at basketball, yes, I do it.
If it's a series, I agree. you're in the beginning of that series. That was still the second game going into the third game.
I don't care at what point I beat
that.
If I score a basket on Michael Jordan, I'm gonna celebrate.
I'm not scoring. I'm not. Look, if I score anything on him and if I beat him in the game, I'll celebrate in the locker room. I'm not celebrating in the court.
Think about what BJ did, though. Think about what BJ did, though.
And look what he did not do following that.
He's small, though, right? Like, he's a small guy of minimal talent. You feel me? He does not have, like, he's not the most, like, he's a talented individual, absolutely. Because if you're in the NBA, then you definitely have talent. If you're in the NBA and you're with, like, have the ability to play with Michael and you're on that status, right? You definitely have talent. But he's not Iverson. Like, he's not a point guard who's, like, leading the league and stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Over the course of time.
Is he Jordan's Dellavedova?
A little bit, but better. A little bit, but better.
Just doesn't go for the knees.
Yeah, he's not.
He just doesn't go for the knees.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not killing people. But if you look at who he is right now, you take that guy, you take him, and you put him in a situation against Michael Jordan and that Bulls team, who he should not be playing with. He recognizes that. He knows that there's no way in the world that we should even be close to the same. We're not on the same stratosphere. Jordan said it. He was like, man, this BJ, I should go in there and kill this guy. Right? Right? So, and he knew that from jump. He was like, I should go in there and kill this guy. It shouldn't even be a thing. But at the same time, everybody has their day and their time. And if this is your day and your time, you better celebrate your day and your time, because BJ knew no matter what the situation was, this was it. You feel me?
Listen.
Whether he celebrated or didn't celebrate it, there's no way in the world he was winning that series. Okay. You know it. I know it. BJ knew it. Michael Jordan knew it. Everybody knew it. So if you get a win, you better celebrate it.
The reason why I'm saying no is because the common theme throughout Michael Jordan's career is he just needs motivation. Like, if he's not motivated, it probably won't play out well. If he's motivated, whatever it is, big or small, it's just something that just motivates him to get the job done. He gets it done, whatever. And you give him that motivation. He didn't have that going into the series. He didn't have that. Like you said, he's like, we should win. But once BJ Armstrong did that, they said for the rest of the series, what? That was it. That was a wipe.
But let me tell you something. If I'm on that,
giving that to Michael Jordan, bro.
If I have a very talented team and I know for a fact we have a chance to win, and I know for a fact we can win this thing. You feel me? I know for a fact we can. It's not like we gotta like play super above whatever. I know for a fact we can win it. Then your logic makes a lot of sense if Michael Jordan seems unmotivated. You feel what I'm saying? But honestly, being down a certain amount is going to motivate Jordan. Jordan will get motivated at some point, one way or another.
Yeah,
but
you don't hand that to him.
BJ didn't have a team that was going to win that series. Him and Glenn Rice wasn't going to get that done. He knew that.
They were going to.
They were not. So why not celebrate the wins when you have them? Like, I would have, I would have danced on Jordan. I'd have went to the locker room, danced in the locker room. I'd have went to Jordan's locker room and danced in their locker room. You know why? Because I know this is my time and this is my night. And I'm going to revel. And he willed them to victory. He put that team on his back. BJ put that team on his back and willed it. Actually, I ain't going to even front with y'all. I was cheering for BJ. I didn't remember what happened. I didn't remember what happened. So when he did win, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, yeah, BJ.
Look, because during this time Dwayne and I talked about this before. Like, we were kids when this happened. Like, I was 5 or 6. What year was 97? So I was about 6 or 7 whenever this happened.
It's 97.
This 96 or 97. I think that's where this one happened.
No, wait. I think the BJ
maybe 94, 95.
Yeah, hold on, we gotta figure out when the BJ one happened.
Because he was out for 18 months, but maybe it was 92, 93 season.
Yeah,
because I was too young to remember it, to even watch it. So everything that we're seeing in this, like,
that was 98. That was 98.
It was 98.
It was 98. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so back then I wasn't watching basketball like that to see all that. So I'm living this documentary is like me living that time out completely. Like, I've up until that age, I don't think I really got into basketball like that till I was like 10 or 11, and that was Kobe for me. Michael Jordan was already on the Wizards by the time I got into basketball like that. So the prime MJ was Space Jam for me. You know what I'm saying? So being able to live through this is
So Bugs Bunny was your Scottie Pippen.
he was my Scottie Pippen. Most definitely.
That was your Dennis Rodman.
That's Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man. So that's why I'm enjoying this. Like is being able to actually live through those times, because I'm 30 now. You know, like for me, I wasn't watching it like that at that point in time. So this has been a different. This actually adds on to the legacy of MJ for me. This just adds on to it. Like I watched the games. I went back and watched games, but to hear the stories to go along with those games in the series and everything like that, it's phenomenal, man. This is phenomenal. Especially with everything that happened with his dad. Like I knew about that. But I didn't know like the time frame which that happened. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't know. So
honestly, I didn't know he won the championship on Father's Day.
Yeah,
that was another thing, right?
Either.
Yeah, that man, that if you're watching any part of this, there's a few tear-jerking moments in this series, right? A few of them actually. One kind of was when Jordan realized what type of villain he was, and I'm sure the show will get to that. Like that was a tear-jerking moment.
I'm the
for
villain?
Me. When he look, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to play like that. Yeah. Don't play like that.
Oh God, yeah.
But that type of that Jordan, like when he realized that was crazy to me. But that moment when he's laying on the ground and he's crying, right, and he's sobbing like grown, like it's a grown man cry, like he is like letting that thing out completely. It was a wailing moment, but it was so heart pulling. You know what I mean? Like it pulled at your heartstrings. Watching him really live in that moment, watching him, come back, right? Have to come back from baseball. People wondering if he was ever going to be MJ again.
Build his body up
right?
again.
Yeah, build his body back up, and then getting through the struggles and actually winning a championship, right? And it was such a ridiculous amount of emotion that he released right in that moment. And he lived in that moment. It felt like in solitude, even though he was surrounded. You know what I mean? Like it was just him, the trophy, and him just like him crying, and it was a lot.
Yeah. That one was rough, man. That was rough to watch that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, I didn't cry when he was talking about the villain thing.
Yeah, I didn't cry, but I almost did.
I didn't. I was sitting there. I'm sitting there looking at it from his perspective. I'm like, yeah, why are you guys acting like this? Like that's how I felt. I'm like, because I'm competitive. I'm highly competitive. So for me, I'm like, yeah, Michael Jordan is correct on this. Like, if you don't want to play like that, don't play. Don't play like that. But you're just not gonna be on my team. That's how I looked at it. I was like, I get you. And I saw him about to cry. I was like, whoa, what happened? Like for me, I didn't understand it, but I get it. It's just because that's the perception, and he this entire docuseries, you're starting to see how much of a wear and tear that whole time was on MJ, which I didn't realize like that. Like to think that it's on that magnitude. And we talked about this last week. Like, could you imagine him being in this time now with social media?
I know. You know what Jordan needed?
What?
Load management.
Hey. Maybe he's not lying. But Jordan would never take load management.
He wouldn't do that.
It would really
never
helped.
do it.
He wouldn't do
He would never do it.
He tried to come back and with a small percentage of even being able to actually threaten his career, tried to come back. load management wasn't like if he played in this
Nah.
era, he would never do. I think he would if he played in today's game. That would be the only player you see that does not do load management. I think he would be the only one. You would have to almost like force him to not like.
Well, him and Kobe, respectively, since they're about the same player in a way.
Yeah.
They're about, but let me ask you this question because I feel like in mentality, the closest guy to a Michael Jordan or Kobe right now in mentality, I feel like is Russell Westbrook. So
yes,
in mentality, right? So so the question is, does Russell take those days? Does Russell do low management for now?
I don't think he does because
I feel like it's like a vibe of the time now, and almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's something that because guys are trying to extend their careers way past right whatever they're playing. So I mean, LeBron, I understand it. LeBron's trying to play when Bronny comes, which right now is what at least 3 more years,
2-3 more years, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Bronny's a freshman right now, right? So if Bronny's,
I think so.
So if Bronny's a freshman, and we're talking about
Freshman or sophomore,
right? I think he's a freshman. I think he was a freshman.
How old is he? 15?
I don't know, but I think he was a freshman because I know they kept making a big deal out of him being the star of that team when Dwayne Wade's son should have been, right?
Sierra Canyon, right?
Yeah. And but if Bronny's a freshman in high school, we got to wait at least 4 more years, right? So if LeBron's going to make it for 4 years until, he can play with Bronny. And what is he? I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to be a free agent that year and go to whatever team Bronny's on?
He's been doing 2-year contracts. So he's
I don't know what's the plan
to go wherever.
I don't want to make this a LeBron conversation.
That'll be weird.
But him playing with Bronny?
No, like let's say Bronny gets drafted by like a horrible team like the Knicks.
Yeah.
Seeing LeBron go to the Knicks? Old LeBron going to the Knicks? What's the purpose?
Can I ask you a question? Well, we know the difference because LeBron looks very old and he's all. But if you look at him 10 years ago, he still looked the same. Like LeBron always looks. He looks very similar. He just looks a little bigger.
Facial structure, yeah.
In facial structure, yeah, he looks very similar. He was a little thinner back there. You're right.
He's built up.
He did bulk up. He
built up, and then his beard started to gray. It's graying right here, bro.
Really?
Yes. Yes. And his hairline, of course, we know that story.
Well, that's always been the issue.
Yeah, but I mean, it's moving a little back.
Bad. Okay.
Yeah. But
well, all right. That being said, gentlemen, let's move on to this.
MJ at least embraced it.
Well, gentlemen, let's go on and let's move on. And let me ask this serious question for both of you gentlemen to give your take on, especially with Rick. I'm definitely very looking forward to his opinion on this, given his LeBron fandom. Now, we learned the real reason behind Jordan's first retirement. Based off what you learned, is it safe to say that Jordan quit on basketball? The ultimate competitor? Did he quit?
No, I love the question. But I give Jordan a pass because he was every part of basketball. If you remember Kobe talking about his love for basketball and how he had an intense love for basketball in the game and the struggle of getting better, right? Along in that journey with Kobe was really just Kobe and his basketball. Does that make sense? Like Kobe, his basketball and his ambition, right? His relationship with his parents was a little rocky. And so, but if you look at Jordan's situation, Jordan's mom is the reason why we wear Jordans today.
Oh, yeah.
From Nike. Does that make sense? Like Jordan's mom pushed up. Yeah. She's the reason Nike is where it is. And I don't know how much she's getting that residual. But I feel like, but you feel me? Like, for the most part, his parents were very involved in every bit of his life. Look, at times, Jordan was and remember, we're talking about a different phase here. So actually, when Jordan first came in the league, his dad was talking for him a lot. Right? Yeah. Like people was interviewing his dad a lot, almost like LeVar, but without the foolishness. It was like, It was
That's a
it
great
was a lot of
comparison.
interviewing of
Yeah,
it was a lot of interviewing of Mr. Jordan, right? You can
yeah.
see him in interviews, you can see him giving his opinion, you can see him on the sideline, you can see him there hugging his son whenever they win championships. He was very much a part of that struggle. So for Jordan for with Jordan and basketball, his Jordan basketball story, it goes alongside his relationship with his father,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those things are mirrored, they're tied, they're together.
Yeah.
So for Michael Jordan, it's man, him having to tear away a big part of his basketball life in order for him to continue. Honestly, man, you look at for one, it was his relationship with his father. His father dreamed to see him play basketball. His father giving him go to play basketball. You
Mm-hmm.
feel what I'm saying? Him saying, yeah, son, go ahead and do that, right? Him doing all that stuff, right? For his dad, it was therapy for him. He needed that. It was all therapy. So I don't say he quit on basketball. He needed to break away for therapy. He needed that type of therapy to break away from the pressures of this game, to go do something where he had a brand new challenge. He had to face a brand new challenge, right? And he had to figure out how to get along in this brand new world. That was a big enough distraction for him, right? To not have to constantly focus every waking moment on him living his life in basketball without one of his biggest supporters through his career, right? And so I completely understand him leaving, and I don't say he quit on basketball. I say he did what was best for him and for the sport of basketball, actually, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like at the end of the day, I don't say he quit on basketball. I give him the ultimate pass, right? Like whatever the pass is, he has the ultimate pass from me, and I think it was the best thing he could have did for himself.
Yeah, especially for his mental health. Like, he even spoke about like that. Like, he just needed to get away. He was already talking about going to baseball anyway before
Yeah,
his dad passed. I think, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The motivation factor that you see trending throughout his career. At that point in time, there was no motivation to continue to even want to like have the desire of playing basketball. You already won 3 championships at that point. Got Olympic gold. I think he had MVP as well, right?
yeah.
By that point. So what else do you have to like prove? You've already shown you're the best at that point. So the motivation factor wasn't there. So I don't give him any flack for that. That's I understand, especially when his dad got taken away like that. That's it's understandable why he left. And then he got the motivation to come back. Sometimes you just need to step away. It's like if you're working on a project, like we've all done stuff where we sit in front of the computer for hours. If you got that mental block right there, at that point, sometimes you need to step back, walk away, get your attention on something else. There we go. The block is gone. And then you come back and you just kill it, right? I think it's just the same way. I think it's the same thing with that.
Yeah, like Nicki Minaj. Go ahead.
Oh wow. Okay.
What was her block? Remy Ma?
Oh my goodness.
No.
Slap that right out, right?
Moving on. Moving on to our next question. Moving on to our next question. So, gentlemen, after what we found out about the glove, Gary Payton, question for you both. Who had the better chance at beating Jordan in the finals between the following two people? Gary the Glove Payton or Charles Barkley?
You know what? I'm going to say Gary Payton. Only because they had the team that had the best record in the league at that time, right? And if was Mike Malone was Michael Malone the coach at that time? Was that Mike Malone? No, George Karl. I'm sorry.
George Karl, yeah.
George Karl. I see why George Karl has had his journey in the NBA the way he has. Because if you have not, if you don't put your best defender, and I think he had one defender, it was defensive player of the year that year, right? I think he won it that year. But if you have the best defender in the league on your team and you don't put him on the best player on the opposite team for 3 games, I think if they had a different coach, I think they would have given the Bulls a better fight. I'm not going to say they would have beaten the Bulls, but I think they would have had I think that would have been a better fight, because if they had this right strategy from the jump, they could have given them a run for their money. They had a really good team that year. So I'm gonna say Gary Payton had the better opportunity.
I'm gonna agree with you because of the team. I'm gonna agree with you because of what some you said earlier about lack of motivation, right? So I felt like Jordan had motivation, right, to win it. At the same time, I still feel like he was in somewhat of a slump, and Gary, even though Jordan outright denies that Gary Payton had anything to do with him not winning, right? But if he was most vulnerable, he looked more vulnerable against Gary Payton than against Charles Barkley, right? Against Charles Barkley, look, I love the way Charles fought. If you paid attention to how Charles did his thing, right? Like he actually put the team on his back and he willed them, to a win or so. But if you look at what's going on with Gary Payton, he did the same thing. And if you watch the footage, Gary was so spry. Gary was he was explosive. You feel what I'm saying? Like you look at him now and it's whatever. When Gary Payton was actually playing the game, right? The glove was a real situation, right? Yeah. He was a killer on the court. He had a very similar way about him, like almost a little Russell Westbrook tied in with a little bit more, funness of Chris Paul. Like he was cool. Like he was cool on the court. But the thing that made them so dynamic was Shawn Kemp. Right, like in their relationship, and that too, right, and I felt like he had more of a running mate. So it was him. He had more of a running mate, even though KJ, who was with Charles Barkley, right, that team was good. Don't get me wrong. But if you look at Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp at the time, both of those guys were elite, right? Yeah. So you look at those two. We're looking at two very, very good players, and so when I look at them, I don't know. I just felt, even watching it back, it just looked Jordan looked vulnerable. Like he looked like he could have been beaten if he hadn't found that focus. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? If he didn't find that thing to motivate him, he could have been beaten. So I think the person who had them more on the ropes felt like Gary Payton to me, even though it's only really because they beat him so bad initially that he thought it was over. You feel what I'm saying? And even though Jordan is subhuman at times, right? Like he seemed human. That Bulls team seemed human, getting into that feeling of this is almost over, y'all, let's go home. Yeah. You feel me? Yeah. Which made them vulnerable for Gary Payton to do what he did.
Wait, did you say Michael Jordan was subhuman at moments?
Say again?
Did you say Michael Jordan was subhuman at moments?
He is subhuman at moments, but I meant superhuman.
Oh, okay. But what moments was he subhuman?
What moments? I don't know. Maybe the moments when he cursing out on his teammates. Maybe the moments when he's being an absolute villain. Maybe the moments when he punched. Maybe the moment when he punched Steve Kerr in his eye. Maybe that
moment. Now, if someone's talking to you the way Michael Jordan's talked to his teammates, how would you have reacted in that moment?
I'm probably gonna lose my religion because he played like trash today.
Yeah, like, see, look, honestly, I would have been more mad at that statement than him punching me in the eye. So, like, I would have been so hot, bro. Like, you feel me?
Yeah.
And look, the thing that would have made me real mad is if for a second the flight attendant held back my food.
Yo, that's another thing. Like, who actually sat there and said, "Okay, Michael, I'm not giving him food"?
That would have been it. Like, look,
that's a good question.
If she'd have did this move, at that moment, somebody would have got hit.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Look, if she bring my plate and it's right here, I'm about to receive it, right? And Michael like, no, he don't get to eat. And then she goes, nah.
I would
Nah.
love to know that flight attendant's perspective.
No, that's who we need to interview. That's who needs to talk.
To find her. I would love to know that. That's a really good. I didn't even think about that. That's good.
Oh, but no, that was, man, that's just disrespectful, bro. Like, but watching him, it's just crazy. I felt like it was the glove. Like I agree with Derek. It was the glove for me. Even though, bro, at some points you look at Charles Barkley, he's ridiculous. You feel me?
He just
like he was ridiculous.
He didn't have the team. That's the thing. He didn't have the team to like go toe to toe. If he had the team to go toe to toe, that may have been a different story.
It could have been. Yeah, definitely.
It may have been a different story.
So, gentlemen, let's move on to a serious subject that we saw when we speak about tear jerkers. When we talk about the death of Michael Jordan's father, based off the details and how they went into the situation and described what happened, is there a conspiracy behind the death of Jordan's father?
I hated that was even a narrative. Like, I don't think so. Like that's two dumb kids. I would love to know where those guys are right now. Like, you're responsible for the death of Michael Jordan's dad. How is your life going now? I would love to know that. Because but I don't think that he had anything to do with that. Like, I don't think his gambling had anything to do with it. Like, people see, this is the thing I don't understand. People talk about the amount of money that he gambled. He had the ability to do it. Like, for us, it's a stupid amount of money. For him, it was just whatever. And he's just enjoying his time. Like, that's not a lot of money to him at that point. So I don't think in the grand scheme of things that he had directly or indirectly anything to do with his dad's death. I think that's just happenstance. The dude pulled over to take a nap. Like, you're gonna tell me that these if anyone like that was following him, like, for Michael Jordan's death, you're gonna tell me that no other time they couldn't find him to get him? He was staying at his friend's house. You tell me they couldn't go into there and kill him. Like, so I think the idea, that's far-fetched, and the media at that time should have been ashamed of themselves to even bring that up. Like, the dude just lost his dad. His family just lost a loved one. Like, let them grieve in peace. That was just stupid, man. And I hate that they had to go through that. But I will say this: that whole thing kind of like highlighted just how strong just how strong Michael Jordan's mentality was, or still is. But especially at that point in time, to be going through all that and still be able to focus on a new career, playing baseball and killing it, and then come back and then win 3 more championships in the NBA, like, through all of that, to still be able to do that, that's crazy. That's a different level. That's a different level.
So I'll say this. I have this question. We're gonna disagree on something, Derek, and I'm gonna bring it up in a second.
Okay.
Nothing but yeah, nothing new. But we'll definitely go there in a second. But when I look at the whole thing about his death, I do feel like I do agree with you in a big state where you're talking about how heartless is it for the media to carry that on or bring that out. You know what I mean? Like, or to rev that up I mean, you got to write that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you're writing articles, you got to really sit down and think about connecting these dots and putting that out. And I was around during that time, so I remember that being a prevailing theory, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that was a thought, and it was in people's mind. It was in the mind of the general public because it was portrayed and talked about in the media, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's like, I don't know if the media could really just enjoy the fact that you have this like golden boy in Michael Jordan, right? He was just so awesome. He was great. He was really humble in front of the media, all that kind of stuff. Even though now we know behind the scenes it was different, but at least in front of the camera, it was, you know, pristine Jordan. And then the gambling situation came out. But as soon as the gambling stuff come out, the timing of it couldn't have been really worse, because as soon as they found some chink in his armor, right, then the big thing drops with his father, right? And so now they have this chink, and now they're trying to connect the dots between those two things. And maybe this Jordan gambling thing is just way out of, you know, like way out of proportion, right? Because, you know, Pete Rose had already happened earlier, and there was a lot of other stuff in gambling scandals had already been a thing in sports, right? And so because of all this stuff that had already taken place, they're thinking, oh, maybe this great guy, maybe this great, you know, role model, this great, you know, thing for the person who's kind of been grown up before our eyes, maybe we finally found the humanity in this guy, and maybe this is his major flaw, and maybe it's gotten so bad to where it's now starting to affect his family, and maybe it's gotten so bad to where, right, he can't control it anymore, and now that it's out of control, which is now a big story for the media, right? If that's the unveiling, if that's how this whole thing plays out, now we've known now, oh, that's dumb, right? Like none of that's true, none of that stuff is connected. But at the same time, at the time, it was the prevailing thought. It wasn't just the thought in the people who were writing, it was other people's thoughts as well. Because you think about it, right? You think about, you just found out that he was a big time gambler and that he had a huge problem per se, right? And now, but you know, the thing that's always going along with gambling is not being able to pay your debts, right? And then not being able to pay your debts leads to consequences. And so people just started to put that together. I still don't forgive the media for taking that route, because it takes something, it takes a little bit of heartlessness to take that route and to go there fully. Does that make sense? Because I feel like if it's anybody else, they don't go there. They don't go there. But they went all the way there. And you can see tape back, you can look at the footage back when people would outright say it, right? And so I feel like that was almost unforgivable, right, in those moments, because it's horrendous. It's horrendous to you know bring. So I think there's no merit to that, because if there was any merit to it, we know by now, right? Because this is the, you know how everything done in the dark comes to the light. This is light time, right? And everything that we've seen done in the darkness with Jordan is finally showing up, right? All the stuff that he doesn't even really want to show now. If you really pay attention to it, right? He, at some point, he's like, I don't have to do this, you guys, but I do it because
and
you feel me?
To your point, he also had creative control with this documentary. So if there was something that he really did not want shown, that wouldn't have been in there.
Yeah, I feel like this is light time.
Yeah, and they also said like he didn't say not put anything in there. He left everything in there. That you don't hear someone say that, you know. So I think if he did have something to hide, that story wouldn't be in there.
So in my book, at the end of the day, I look at it like this. I say, no, I give no credence to the you know, to that, you know, controversial take. I just let that be what it is, you know. It's a horrible situation that happened to a you know, good father, right, who was there for his son and supported him through everything. So I say no.
All right, so let's transition and let's talk about, while Jordan was away, the Chicago Bulls were under a new leadership, if you will, of Scottie Pippen. So after what we learned about those couple of years, what the Bulls did while Jordan was away and doing his thing, is Scottie Pippen truly underrated as a player?
I would have to say yeah. In terms of when you're looking back, yeah. Yeah. I mean, being able to actually go back and see all these, you know, in-depth stories and like seeing what he did, because think about this. Michael Jordan wasn't playing for 18 months and he still kept the Bulls relevant to maybe not at the same, they weren't at the same championship level, but that was still, that first year that Michael was gone, they said that was the best year that Phil Jackson had as a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least up until that point, I can't speak for, the Lakers, but for the Bulls, that was his best year of coaching, and they played so well. So yeah, I think he might be underrated a little bit. I mean, especially when you're talking about scoring, he might be underrated. He's definitely underpaid. So
And that's where I'm going with it. I feel like he's more underpaid than underrated, right? Like even when he was playing, like he was 2-time all defensive, second team, 8-time all defensive first team, 3-time all NBA, right? Third team, and also 3-time all NBA first team, all-star MVP at some point, multiple all-star appearances. If you look at what's going on with Scottie Pippen during his time, people knew who he was and how great he was as a player. And he got respect as who he is, which is Robin, right? And nothing showed me more that he was Robin than when Batman left. And watching Jordan leave and watching Robin pick it up, right? Like you ever watch like Batman and Robin, the cartoon series, right? When it's just Batman by himself, it's still a great cartoon series, right? When it's Robin by himself, it's a little bit not as great cartoon series, right?
well,
It's still watchable.
When he was Nightwing, that was
Bet
totally
it's still watchable, right? It's still good. But honestly, nothing really brought it more to light than that Tony Kukok's "you take the last shot" moment, right?
Yeah.
That said everything I needed to know about where Phil thought Pippen was, because even if Pippen was the leader. Right. He was the leader, and everybody on the team acknowledged that Pippen was the leader. At the same time, was Pippen as clutch of a scorer? Was he as clutch of a scorer in tight moments? He wasn't the one getting that last shot. You feel me? He didn't have that same Jordan mentality. I don't think he wasn't Jordan. He just wasn't Jordan, but he was a phenomenal Robin. And when you look over time, Pippen has always been respected as Robin, right?
Yes.
And nothing highlights that more than what we're seeing now. So is he underrated? No, he's properly rated. He's rated as the greatest Robin of all time. And I give him that, right? He is the greatest Robin of all time. And nothing can take that away from him, right? There hasn't been a greater Robin at any point other than Robin himself. So I feel like as far as real life characters, he's the greatest Robin of all time. As a matter of fact, I'm changing it. Robin is the greatest Pippen of all time.
I like that, sir.
That's
I
dope.
like that. I love the way you did that.
That's dope.
Robin the Pippen. Well, okay, so I have a couple more questions for you gentlemen before we wrap things up here. And my first question of the two is, out of the 6 championship wins that Michael Jordan has had, is the 4th title, which was the first one since the death of his father, the one that we now found out was on Father's Day, is that the greatest championship win out of his 6?
Hot question.
Yeah, I would have to say that I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I would assume that's probably his favorite because of everything he went through. Like, he lost his dad, he left basketball, put his body through training to become a baseball player, came back to play basketball, and had to retrain his body to become a basketball player again. And lost he lost to the Magic, but then came back, rebuilt his body, and then beat them en route to the championship. Like, I would think that has to be, like, with all that said, that has to be the sweetest one. That has to be, because now you're doing it for your dad. You're trying to prove that you're still at the top of your game, and so, and it's very interesting because he had to build his body up again, which is like the second time he's had to do that. Build his body up for the Pistons, then break it down to play baseball, then build it back up to get over Orlando. I would have to say it is.
I'm gonna go a different route. and say it's number one. Number one is possibly the one that was the greatest for, I think, in my opinion, it's the best one, because you're right, with the fourth one there was so much struggle and so much to overcome. He's overcoming something emotional with his father. He is, having to retrain his body and reshape his body to get back into basketball playing shape. He did lose to Shaq in a Penny Hardaway combination, right? Like, he had to deal with that situation, and he did finally come back to a great team. But number one was the one that actually started the body transformation. If you think about it, the first one was against those Pistons, who he had lost to for 3 consecutive years, right? If you remember when LeBron finally beat those Boston Celtics the first time, he didn't even win the championship, but he beat the Celtics to go to the championship game, the finals, right? And remember, he lost it. He lost it because he had taken so much out of him to get past the Celtics. Yeah. You feel me? Yeah. For Jordan, it took so much out of him in that team to get past the Pistons. And when they finally did it, and in the way that they did it, you feel me? When they finally hold that championship in his hands, he's crying then too. Why? Because it took so much. See, the thing about the fourth championship is, by that point, he had already won 3. He already knew he could win a title in the NBA. And actually, there's not so much on the line at this point. If you don't win this third one, then okay. I mean, if you don't win the fourth one, okay, right? You will get to it next year. Or maybe this is a stepping stone. But that first one, there was doubt there. Can I win the championship? Do we have what it takes to win a championship? And it wasn't just for Jordan. It was for the city of Chicago, right? Nobody thought that they could win a title. Can we win a title? We've always, like you've heard Michael Wilbon say in the documentary, we've always gotten really far or done really okay, right? And then gave up big leads, right? They even get out like 3 games and they don't know if they're going to sweep it or not. You wonder why, because look, you see this on the wall. I'm a Saints fan, right? And up until listen, in that Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts, up until that final whistle blew, I still didn't know we was gonna win the title or not. You feel what I'm saying?
Was when we faced the Patriots,
right?
Yeah.
And you remember the commentators? The commentators was horrible for that game, yo. They were like, is Tom Brady going to come back? There's 2 seconds left. Will he? Like, yo, the game's over. But at the same time, like, that's the thing for a city, right? And you remember for LeBron, when LeBron won the first one for the Cavaliers, the emotions flowed so much because it was such a big deal to win one for the city that believed in you. It's such a big deal for Michael Jordan to win one for Chicago. And I feel in that first one, getting over those classic Pistons, right? And then going on from there to face Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. And to beat them too. Now you're looking at, think about what he had to overcome. He had to overcome Larry Bird and those Boston Celtics at some point, right? He finally had to overcome the bad boy Pistons, and then he had to overcome the Lake Show, right? Or Showtime Lakers. So you have to overcome all that stuff to finally hold the trophy for the first time in your hands, knowing that, look, I put the team on my back and we got here. That felt like the greatest emotional one. I mean, granted, there's a lot of emotions built into that fourth one, right? But that overcoming the doubt that I could ever do it in the first place is big. I want to go with the first one.
Yeah. Oh, great debates that right there on that one, fellas. I love the way you guys went and gave great perspective on both ends of the court there. That was very, very great. So with one great hot topic debate, I got another one for you guys to close out on the show. And this one, I need to know y'all thoughts and opinions. Ladies and gentlemen, my final question for both of these gentlemen is, which Bulls team is the better big 3? Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, or Jordan, Pippen, and Grant?
This one's light work.
Yeah. I'm going Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, man. I love the dirty work. I love those guys that do the little things, man. I mean, that's not knocking Horace at all, but Rodman is special, bro. Like, diving for the loose ball, going for the rebound, everything. He did the dirty work. That, you know, like that's why I love Marcus Smart so much, like because same way, and also playing like strong defense. Like you can't beat that, man. For me, you know, someone that can be the third that third player that makes the entire team better. Not saying Horace didn't, because Rodman came in to replace Grant, but someone that can do that and be such high level that even when the second guy is gone, he can step into that position and lift up that man. I don't think if Pippen left that Horace Grant would be able to step into that position like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Horace, man. Bruh.
Really?
If you look, no, I'm just playing. I can't. I really wanted to. I really wanted to.
There we go. That's what I wanted. Split decision.
I really wanted to, and I wanted to make the case for Horace being such a, like, Horace was such a big presence, you know, for that team. Yeah. And you saw the difference between that team. Honestly, you saw Michael Jordan in the comeback season not be able to get over the Orlando Magic. And it was really because of the absence of Horace Grant. Right? Yeah, like he had almost every other piece. Yeah, and he was back. So I don't want to hear that at that point, because he had already dropped like 50 something, you know, at the Garden. So he was already kind of back. He wasn't fully back, but he was, you know, pretty much back. And so you see that, but they were missing that defensive presence. They're missing a big guy. They're missing a rebounder. They were missing a lot of that stuff. And so the things that made Jordan work, if you remember when they initially put that team together, they initially went out and got a Horace Grant, right? So even though people hate Krause, right? But Krause was like, yo, in order for this whole situation to work, this guy likes to shoot a lot. We're going to need some defenders, and that's why Pippen is great. And we need some rebounding, and we need somebody in the middle. So they go out and they get, you know, a guy like a Horace Grant. Horace was great for that. Pippen was great for defense and all that kind of stuff, right? So them missing Horace Grant really mattered. But you're right, because at the end of the day, it has to be Rodman. Why? Because Rodman by himself is Rodman is ridiculous. Rodman is a phenom. And honestly, people hadn't really big facts. Because the few that Jordan couldn't get, right, well, because Rodman was standing in the way, not him by himself, right? Yeah. But he was a part of those squads. And so if you look at what Rodman was doing, Rodman was like a character all his own, right? But honestly, I don't think the latter part of his career has as much meaning without him being a Bull, right? Oh, yeah. So him being on that Bull squad, and you know, I remember when they signed Rodman, and I remember saying that this is horrible. Why is he coming to this team? Like at the time I was living in the Bible Belt, right? So I'm in Louisiana, and we abhor rings, earrings in your ears and your nose, right? Men wearing dresses,
nail polish.
Nail polish. We abhor coloring, men dyeing your hair, you know, rainbow colors. We look down upon those things, and I looked down upon Rodman. I judged him from my high seat. I said, that man is of the devil, and I cannot cheer for him.
Look like him too, right?
Yes. I looked at him. I judged his relationship with Madonna. I said, that man is a sinner, and I don't want him anywhere near my Bulls team. When they signed him, I said, the Bulls are going down from this point. They ain't gonna never be no good, because they signed a contract with the devil, and it's not needed. You know, why are we bringing on this demon onto this beautiful team, right? Yeah. But they start winning and stuff,
and then you embrace them.
And then he start getting the rebounds and whatnot, and I was like, everybody deserves forgiveness. Look, I'm watching this man do what he do. I became a big Rodman fan. I got to the point where every time he got ejected and took off his shirt, I cheered. I was like, yo, Rodman.
I looked like everybody did, man.
I wanted to be in the stands when he threw his shirt, because he would eventually get ejected. It was almost every game. He was going to get ejected. And watching him grow into the roles. Look, honestly, when he used to make points, like just shoot 2 points, you see him shoot, it looked like he was surprised, and everybody was surprised he made it. It was so beautiful, bro. Like, just kind of like I honestly fell in love with the character of Dennis Rodman, because he was such a hardworking player. You feel me? And right now, when you look at that trio, the trio is legendary because you do have you have the ultimate ultimate Robin and Pippen, the ultimate Pippen. You have him, right? He's phenomenal. He's great defensively, but he's also an offensive scorer. He can also contribute on both of those ends. But as far as rebounding, he can't do that. He can do it, but he can't do it like Rodman because Rodman turned the rebounding into a science. It was a science.
Yeah, you
You
saw
feel
him
me?
talk about that, right?
Yes, and I thought like,
He trained
watch
to
it.
rebound.
Look, I don't.
Beautiful.
Can I say the ology? I don't want to say too much.
Come on.
But look.
Oh, I see where you're going.
I
see where you're going.
Look. Hey, y'all pay attention.
Yeah.
But
the audience will figure that one out a couple months later.
Yeah. but he studied, right? It was the study of rebounding. And he made sure he goes to the gym late at night, have guys just shoot, and he just watched the angles. You feel what I'm saying? He's studying players, and even crazy Rodman, with the rainbow hair and the nose, all that Rodman is still in the locker room with a pen and a pad watching players and studying film to figure out what's going on. This guy I love this phrase as a method to the madness, right?
Yes.
So there's always a method to his madness, and everything that he did made him a larger than life character, but it made the three matter, bro. Honestly, that big three by far is probably one of my favorite big threes of all time, if not the best big three. Right. Because I mean, what they did was just, it was remarkable, especially in the face of knowing that this is the last time we're going to all do this.
We might have to do an episode where we rank big threes. We might have to do that.
Yes.
We might have to do that.
Because I really love the Splash Brothers featuring the other guy. And I think that's so good.
Are they disqualified? Find out next time on the exciting episode of the Sideline Guys. oh boy. Man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this about does it for this edition of the Sideline Guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. We know we did. And of course, we still got 2 more episodes to go in this awesome 10-part documentary. So stay tuned because we will have a review show for 9 and 10. And who knows? Mr. Rick Sincere might just be back for those as well. You never know, people. Make sure you reach out. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you already know, follow all things OTS. Go to otsguys.com. Make sure you also subscribe to the good people, our good family, our neighbors, the MTMV Sports. Man, what? Come on. MTMV
Tell them where they can find you, bro.
Come on now.
Oh, look, you can find us on all platforms, man. If you're in Apple, if you love Apple, you love Spotify, you love Google Play, wherever you love, whatever you love to go to for your podcast, feel free. You can hop on any of those platforms and find us. If you just if we're an Anchor initiated show, right? So if you want to go to Anchor, right there, you go to anchor.fm and find it. Or the best place to find us is at www.mtmvpn.com. Right, you go to that website. Every new thing that we put up, you can find it right there. It's lit on the website as soon as we drop it. Outside of that, you can also search. You can search for different shows that we did. You want to find our interview with Chris Broussard, type in Chris Broussard, you can find it. You want to find our interviews with Hugh Douglas, find it, right? So our NFL interviews, you can find it. Anything you want to find on our website, just go to www.mtmvpn.com and you can find all our content.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
I want to say thank y'all for inviting me to the show, man. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Oh, man. We love having you on, man. Every time you come on, it's a show.
It's a show. It's a show, baby. All this charisma in one episode, I don't think you're ready for it. I don't think you're ready for it. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Brother Derek, you got to let them know where they can find you, of course. I mean,
Derek_OTS or OTS guys, wherever social media, all over.
Hey, you already know where you can find your boy. All Things Life's a Botch podcast, because that's a very good podcast. You should also go check out. If you're not already listening, make sure you subscribe. Check these things out. But, ladies and gentlemen, Once again, that about does it for this episode of the Sideline Guys. Until the next time, 3 good brothers signing out. Peace.